System Philosophy Part 2, Declaration of Infinite. Um, Before we start this topic, I have to say, um, I listened to the previous part 1, and I provide too much example about picking your nose. Huh, that's interesting. Because I'm trying, see some of the examples that I give, I'm trying to make an impression. How can you make an impression? Yeah, I talk about things that are funny about human. Okay, let's get started with part 2. So let's start this topic by jumping back a little bit to the beginning part 1, where I talk about system philosophy provides a whole new approach that solves fundamental problems of existing fields of philosophy, such as barrier of conceptual possibilities and uncertainties. Okay, this is actually very important because solving this doubt/uncertainty is essential to secure knowledge within system philosophy. I think some of you might be familiar with Descartes. He talks about method of doubt or concept of doubt, where human cannot retain knowledge because there are so many uncertainties of this world, such as you cannot prove that you are not dreaming, such as you cannot prove that this world, physical world, is even real. This problem of skepticism have been always an issue with philosophy, that it leads philosophy to a dead end of conceptual paradox and uncertainty. So of course it would be a requirement to sort out this doubt/uncertainty without ignoring it in system philosophy development. This is not something to ignore, but you have to somewhat don't make it cross a line so that you can make philosophy meaningful. So how do you do that? With Declaration of Infinite is a concept that I created to support system philosophy. Basically, it is a term used when you bring in method of doubt, which is from Descartes, for example, or from other philosophers. That is something that you need to read up if you don't understand, because I'm not going to explain what is method of doubt. This is something that I presume that you know. However, Declaration of Infinite have its own unique aspect that is different from method of doubt. The difference would be it is used only when you try to bring entity of per impossibility. It is best explained in an example, of course. Basically, you cannot claim religion or God to be the source of system philosophy. Such as, for example, when I talk about system of human action, like I talk about in part 1, you cannot argue like God is the only way to explain human action. You cannot say what is this universe created out of? You cannot say God. I mean, in this case, if you say God, it would be you violated Declaration of Infinite by bringing in God or something you cannot prove, into possibility. That's against the rules of system philosophy. Even in philosophy, you can argue, you cannot prove there is God, and all of that. There's so much argument going around. However, in system philosophy, I'm just gonna, it's a violation of the rule of system philosophy. Basically, it's just not gonna work if you're gonna bring something that you cannot prove into this field of science. The whole purpose of Declaration of Infinite is to limit the amount of supernatural entities that completely ruins the purpose of philosophy. Declaration of Infinite have other unique usage in future system. Wait, I have to look at the script and see. Have Oh yeah, Declaration of Infinite have very unique usage in other system philosophies, such as universal system, because depend on where you use it and what your goal is. Sometimes you can actually bring in some of the supernatural entities that you cannot actually prove. However, you have to use it for very objective purposes. Like on my book, I specialize like on bold text. It is used for very distinct. It is used. It is used. Is very distinct for its objective purpose. Means you have to use it objectively to achieve something that that you can use in science. You cannot just create philosophy for the purpose of creating philosophy. That wouldn't make sense. So that's end of part 2.